Well, hello, Young and the Restless Daily Recap fans. Today's daily recap is for Wednesday, November the 8th, 2023. Wednesday, November the 8th. Well, we have Phyllis. Phyllis is being Phyllis. Phyllis runs into Danny, and Phyllis decides, let's see, did I even get a picture of that? Because it really wasn't there. Yeah. She's flirty, of course. She sees him sitting down. Well, hey, hi, Danny. Fancy meeting you here. And he's like, well, hi, Phyllis. He's like, care to sit down? So she sits down and they're talking. And then she decides she's going to bring up Christine and, of course, try to bash Christine. And he goes, Phyllis, I don't know, why you do that. Just you and I, we're talking. I'm rooting for you. You're making progress. And she's like, well, that's because, I barely am getting the words out of you, now that the bug is back in town. And he goes, no, that's, really not what's happening here. And so she says, well, I mean, it kind of seems like that because I know the bug has talked about me. And he goes, you know what? I really wish you wouldn't call her the bug. And so she goes, okay, well, the cricket. Almost like the same thing. Now, she never called Christine Cricket in her life, right? And he goes, you know what? How about just Christine? Okay, I could do that. I'm changed. I'm really working on myself. I can say Christine. So they got to talking, and then she said something about, well, I just don't see how you could still, you know, have a torch for her. I mean, just because she and Paul's relationship broke up, I mean, didn't the past tell you anything about the the Christine? See, she made sure she almost said oops, Christine, right? And he said, Christine and I are friends, just like you and I are friends. You and I have a history. A lot of it wasn't good, but we're still communicating. So she goes, I'm thinking of taking up meditation. And he's like, really? Because see, she knows he meditates. So he goes, oh my, he goes, I found that, and he talks about the particular style of meditation that he does. And she's like, oh, will you teach me? And he goes, no, Phyllis, you have to be certified and qualified to teach this particular style of meditation. I am neither, right? And so he goes, but I can definitely turn you on to some references that will be really good for you to get started. Okay. So then we have Christine. She's talking to Nina, pretty much talking about Danny, but of course, bashing Phyllis. See, they both bash each other. They really do. It's just Christine talking to Nina about it. Nina was right there with her in the bashing, right? Danny is trying to rise above, especially since Danny's trying to play both ends against the middle, and that's the truth, right? So anyway, Phyllis and she goes, "Why don't we have dinner?" And he goes, "You know what? Yeah, that can be arranged. You know what? We can arrange that sometime." So Christine makes sure she walks in, right? Christine walks in, and well, actually, no, Daniel walks in. Daniel walks in, and he's sitting there talking with Phyllis. And, actually, no, I think that was the other day. Phyllis just keeps running into Danny, into to Danny. Yeah, Nina and Christine. Yeah, this isn't when. Yeah, this is not when Daniel came in. Daniel came in the other day and took her off to a meeting, but she makes sure fancy meeting you here. It's almost like she got a little bug in his jacket or something because she run into him everywhere. Oh, I mean, just wow. The only one else running into him as much as is Christine, because she seemed to run into him all the time. But he calls her, he texts her, "Can we meet here? You want to meet there?" When you know he is actually pursuing Christine, whereas he's not pursuing Phyllis. He is just trying to be nice to Phyllis. But you know what? When you know the history of a person like Phyllis, you still have to watch the signals you give. You have to give clear cut boundaries to Phyllis because Phyllis is already buying into this friendship that Danny is showing her as to an end for her to get something more. And now that Christine is back in town, this is a competition for Phyllis. It reminds her of the past and she gonna win, right? It's too bad she's too old to fake a pregnancy because she sure would. So anyway, we have Chloe and Chelsea are meeting Summer, trying to, kind of smooth out the way, pave the way for working collaboration. And Summer actually apologized, said, "You know what? I hope I haven't been too overbearing. Chloe, I do want you to know I support you. And somehow, with our last conversation, I don't think you came away with that. And I want to make sure you know I do." And so Chelsea's like kind of mediating, yes, yes. And we were just talking about that, blah, blah, blah. And she and Summer were kind of clicking, and Chloe looked. And so Summer said, "So, here moving forward, I think open communication is best." And she says something else, and Chloe goes, "Well, I don't agree." And Chelsea stops and she looks at her. Summer looks at her and she says, "This is not going to work for me." And Chelsea's like, "Wait, what is she talking about?" She says, "You and Chelsea have you guys are clicking, you're vibing. You're able to collaborate and bounce ideas off of each other." She goes, "That's the way it should be." She says, "I'm a third wheel. And ultimately, the third wheel is always the one fighting to be heard." She goes, "When three people are making a decision, that third person always has to fight." She says, "And I don't want to be in an environment where I feel I always have to fight to get my vision heard." And Summer said, I hope I haven't made you feel that way because that's not my intention." And she goes, "No, you haven't, Summer. But Chelsea's back now. And moving forward, it should be just you and Chelsea." Because, see, remember, going to Marquetti, Chloe didn't want to go. Remember, Chloe wanted to work, build the new design company with Sally. So she turned Chelsea down. Chelsea went by herself, right? So Chloe was just thrown in because Chelsea needed to go on maternity leave in real life, but story life, Chelsea needed to go get Connor settled. So they brought Chloe on board as Chelsea's eyes and ears and, personal presence because Chelsea was present on, Zoom. So now that Chelsea's back, Chloe is not needed, and let's be real. So Chloe just explained to them how, the appointment she had with Sally on the design job, and she says, "We had that collaboration, the back and forth, the ideas and the synergy. And that's what I need and thrive for." And Chelsea looked at her and she said, "That used to be us." And she goes, "Yes, Chelsea, when it was just you and us." She said, "But now that collaboration is with Summer." And that's a good thing. You two are going to rock this, right? And I'm thinking, well, good. At least you're not going to always be some kind of Debbie Downer, Chloe. You know when to fold them, girl. You know when to hold them and you know when to fold them. And she's decided I'm folding them. Okay. So she's folding them. So let's see. Let's get to the good stuff. Nate. Remember how we were all saying we can't wait for Nate to get his. See, Victoria already got hers when her father demoted her. And she's still tantruming and bratting it out. They just didn't give her an opportunity to scheme. But look, her and Nate have always schemed on how they both were going to run Newman. He as her co-CEO. Remember when Victor decided to put Nikki at Newman Media, right? And Nick said he was going to go work with Sharon. Victoria point blank, okay, I know we need to fill that co-CEO spot right away, and I want to fill it with Nate. And Victor said, oh, it ain't gonna be him. He's like, oh, that ain't happening. And she's like, what do you mean? She go, oh, no, it ain't gonna be him. Good, Victor, right? The only thing, everybody, I don't like Nate, and I feel Nate needed to get this. Kick in the behind by Victor. And actually, an unjust one, everybody. Nate did everything Victor told him to do. He told him not to tell anybody about going away. He told him to make the arrangements. He told him to make sure the doctors would be discreet. And Nate said, I will get everything in order for you according to your specifications, right? And you just go away for an extended vacation. Now, see, for me, that whole extended vacation, that wouldn't have worked. Victor just took the helm of Newman Enterprises as CEO. How he gonna go on an extended vacation? So that really wasn't gonna fly. It really wasn't. Them having doctors at him maybe shortening his days because look, just because he's the CEO, Victoria's the CEO, co-CEO. She could work long hours, and he could do work from home. Heck, her and Nate spent more time in the company suite at the athletic club anyway. So don't make it like she was working 9 to 9. She wasn't. So anyway, Nate is like, I don't know what. He goes, I called the doctors from that clinic. I heard about all the arrangements you made. And he goes, according to your specifications. And yes, I still stand behind in order. We don't know what we didn't know, what we were dealing with. We needed to get you tested and diagnosed swiftly and quietly. There was no nefarious thinking on my part. He goes, you were trying to you and were trying to push Victoria back into the position that I took from her. And he goes, no, I only made a suggestion for it to be her because she was the CEO. And he's like, I don't believe. He goes, you know what? I should have seen this a mile away. I should have seen it. I have been burned, taken the brunt from you before. Remember when Victor faked his death and punked Nate into going along with it? Nate ends up getting on a plane with Victor, and Victor tells him he needs to say he died. I mean, Nate and Nate got in trouble. Got suspended for a minute for that, right? All behind Victor. And he goes, I should have known. He goes, well, you know what? You did me a favor by firing me. And Nikki is like, get out of here. Don't let the door hit you. And Nick has got his hands in his pocket like, I didn't trust you anyway. bye. And Adam is kind of like, bye, boss. Bye, boss. So he goes to out the door, and Victoria looks at Victor. We'll talk about this later. So she goes after Nate. Nate. And he turns and he looks at her. I hate what my father did to you, Nate. That was so unfair. You didn't deserve that, Nate. He goes, I thought you had my back. I thought you, of all people, had my back. And when the chips were down, you said nothing, Victoria. You didn't even back me with the course of action that would have been best for your father. And he's like the only doctor in the room, right? And you couldn't back my choice or my recommendation. Well, no, Nate, it's not that I don't have faith in you. It's just, the way I was raised, no matter what, you still back your family. And I just didn't feel my father should be sent away. And we had no contact with him. That's the only problem I had, Nate. That's it. But no, I mean, I know you didn't try to do anything underhanded. And he goes, no, you stayed silent and you sided with Adam of all people. Of all people. He says, I was warned about you Newmans because I've been burned before. He goes, I just thought this was going to be different. I thought we had something different, Victoria. But no, I see. No, Nate, don't be mad at me. My father did this. I didn't do this. I had nothing to do with this. I believe in you. And he just got in the elevator and he looked at her. He goes, no, no more. No more, Victoria. No, I'm done. So he lets the elevator door close. And Victoria's in shock, like, what? So she goes back in. How could you do this? Victor just sitting in his chair. Nate did nothing wrong. He goes, yes, he did. Yes, he did. And while Victoria was out, something, Nate, they were talking, and Nick said, quite frankly, I'm surprised it wasn't Adam. And Adam just looked, he goes, yeah, but you know what? I'm the only one that tried to work with you and Victoria through this. He goes, and you guys wouldn't have it. I'm the only, and so Victor says, quite frankly, and wait, Nikki says, yeah, well, it's a shock, because Nick said, yeah, but you always have some kind of angle. And Nikki said, it's a shock you weren't the one that walked in the trap. And see, Victor's sitting right there. That's the kind of thing that he does. He needs to put a stop to. You tell your wife, you got something negative to say about my son, baby, my baby, my baby, my baby. Say it to me at home. But don't say it in public like that. See, because you're feeding into Nick and Victoria's reactions towards Adam, and you're feeding into him always being on the defensive, you know? So anyway, Adam says, and Nick says, not Nick, Victor says, you know what? Adam, out of everybody, out of all my children, actually seemed to have the best course of action. He had an action, right? An action. And so, Adam was like, yep, I sure did. I sure did. He was proud of himself, right? So anyway, let me see. That ends that. Nate's off. Nate's upset. And it's like, oh no, wait. You mean to tell me they didn't like all your ideas? You weren't in an environment where all your ideas were valued? What? Nate? So pompous and smug? Huh? Yeah, buddy. Got fired unjustly for just doing what the man asked you to do. And he turned it on you. I was happy. I was really, really happy, everybody, because it couldn't happen to a nicer girl, woman, man, Benedict Arnold, traitor. Nina is still at society with Christine, and she gets a phone call. Chance has been shot. Oh, my goodness. So she and Christine jump up and they rush to the hospital. And Sharon was there and she heard it. They told Sharon. So she's trying to call in Esther to get in right away, right away. She needs to get to the hospital. So Phyllis and Cricket, and Christina got, I don't call her Cricket either. Phyllis got in her head. Nina and Christine are headed to the hospital. And Sharon is frantic on the phone with Esther, and Summer is still there with Chloe. I guess they called Sharon because Phyllis and Christine and Nina were at society. Chloe and Chelsea and Summer were at the coffee house. So Phyllis must have called Sharon, or maybe Christine. Somebody called Sharon. Could have even been Elena, who knows, right? So they're looking like, why is Sharon so frantic? And so Summer says, you got to get to the hospital. Is everything okay? And she goes, Chance has been shot. And Summer's face was just like, just, oh my goodness, almost worse than Sharon's, right? So Nina and Christine get to the hospital. And Chance is laying there. Of course, he's unconscious. And Christine is trying to get information on him, and Nina's crying and crying, and I'm like, not again! I can't go through this again with you. Oh no! Anyway, let's face it, it's gonna be all right. Because I kind of think he's going on vacation, or he's still been on vacation. He was on vacation, supposed to be gone for 2 months, and I can't remember the last time we've actually seen him. So he's either already gone and now he's coming back, or he's getting ready to go away. He and his girlfriend are going international vacationing. So anyway, that's all that happened. That's it for Wednesday, November the 11th, 2023. Let's go to Comment Corner. Comment Corner. Lisa says, Lucy height can be explained by Phyllis. I don't quite know what that means. That gene got passed down to her. Is Lucy height Phyllis's mother? I didn't know Phyllis's mother or anything. Phyllis's backstory, I don't know. Sherry said, Nate told Victoria a couple of hours before. I don't remember Nate telling Victoria about him making arrangements for her father. I don't remember that. Monique said, Nate thought the grass was greener over at Newman. He was warned by Elena how the Newmans operate. Even when push comes to shove, Victoria will always side with her family, no matter how much she hates Adam. Well, she sides with the whole family, but not just Adam by herself. It has to be something really hot, spectacular for her to just side with Adam. But anyway, thank you for comments and Comment Corner. I will be back for another daily recap of The Young and the Restless.